So you guys know, on Disney Plus, there have been two seasons of a modern Goosebumps adaptation. First season, I wasn't too crazy about the way they did it, but I thought the first season showed some potential. You know, you had Justin Long in there. A Slappy was essentially the main antagonist of the season, and although they were able to do different books while still keeping it a linear story, I was surprised with how mature it was. I'm not saying like this was very adult, but I mean, you had characters using curse words and whatnot, words I would never use because this is a family-friendly channel. Never gonna see me cursing up on in here. Maybe just sometimes. But I was like, okay, it's fine, it's all right." And then we're like, they're gonna do an anthology each season where it'll be a different story. And then I did watch season 2 'cause I just have such a nostalgia for the original Goosebumps. So I was like, okay, maybe this one can up it up a bit and they can learn from their mistakes. I wasn't that into it. I'm just not a big fan of doing this linear story where they just happen to have little moments from different books, trying to have each episode do that. It does not work for me. I just prefer each episode being an anthology and doing its own thing. Well, it looks like other people agreed because Disney has decided not to move forward with a third season continuing on, and the show has been canceled. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. It does say in the article, though, that since Sony has been the main one producing the show, they just sell it to Disney. So Sony makes it and then they sell it to Disney. That Sony is actually trying to figure out if anybody else wants to buy the show. So let me see here if I can find it. Where it says that two seasons premiere. Let me see. I'll go back to the Hollywood Reporter article. Why is everything so bombarded with ads? If I wasn't such an old man, I'd figure out how to install ad blocker onto my drive, man. I know everybody's gonna be like, Chris, it's easy. The amount of times I've installed something that is supposed to be ad blocker and it only makes things 10 times worse, I'm done. I'm just living the Unk life from now on and embracing it fully. According to an individual with knowledge of the situation, series producer Sony Pictures plans to shop the show to other outlets and explore different creative directions for the IP. So Disney might be done with it, but in months or a week's time, we could find out Netflix has bought up the rights to Goosebumps and will be making a continuation from there. It also very clearly feels like when they're saying different creative direction with the IP, does not feel like they're going to go with what they've been doing with Disney Plus. It doesn't feel like they're going to just call it season 3, go again with just a random story and have a linear thing going on. I feel like if this gets bought by HBO Max or Amazon Prime, Netflix, it'd be funny if it ends up on Hulu because that's essentially just Disney Plus now. They will be exploring other options, and I'm like, how hard is it to listen to the fans that are saying make it an anthology? This could be family friendly Black Mirror. You laugh at us, but were there not genuine times in that original Goosebumps when you were watching it as a kid that it gave you the heebie-jeebies, that it gave you the creeps? Around Halloween time and Spook Your Mama, I'll put on those Goosebump episodes while I'm carving pumpkins, decorating around the house, because they just had a fun vibe to them, right? I just don't know what's so hard about that. Why they feel they need the linear story. Black Mirror is still popular on Netflix. Isn't that proof that the anthology route is still something that could get people interested? So this is really where I toss it off to you guys. Do you think this is the end for Goosebumps? I never think it's truly the end because Goosebumps and the nostalgia it holds will always have some value. So either this just means Sony will find a buyer and we'll see it on another platform, or it rests for like 4 years and Sony decides to make another Jack Black movie, or just reboot it with different ideas. I don't know, man. If you're listening, if you're watching execs, which I know you're definitely not, anthology route. Especially keep the same mature theme you were doing in this show, because that shocked me, man. There was things going on and a little teen angst in there. I was like, oh God, a modern day version of these stories with there's so much stuff now that is here that wasn't there that could help modernize these stories. Like the whole say cheese or die camera. Imagine telling that story in the world of social media. What happens when you upload what happens when the say cheese or die camera becomes a digital camera? What if it Jumanjis itself and becomes an iPhone, right? There's so many other stories I feel you could easily modernize, because back when that show was happening, there were no cell phones, there was no social media, the world didn't look like the way it does today. And I think that opens the outlet for some of those stories to look a little different than they would back then. It's not just you recreating those same episodes. If anything, just take inspiration from some of those stories and mix them around. Fans will be fine with that. Redo the haunted mask story, but you don't have to have, what was the Carly Beth? You don't have to have her again. Do Carl Beth. We're gonna live in this silent pause for a little bit, all right? Just I'm trying to think of the next gag. Jumanji itself, did it not? That always kind of pissed me off about the new Jumanji when it just went from a board game to a video game. It can just do that. That's part of Jumanji's power. What it reboots? What's Jumanji gonna become? An app on a phone? Kids don't play video games nowadays, but they got an app now. It Jumanji's itself. You guys get me. You guys get me. Okay, what? That's where we're ending it. Goonie the dummy. Gooner alert. Batani Gooner alert. No, Slappy, please. My family's watching. All right, let's move on to the next thing.